Mark Carney with 131,674 votes.
It's, this is a person who has an international reputation as an economist. He's had a stellar career as the governor of two banks, Bank of Canada, Bank of England. He has, excellent reputation, I think, and so their ability to attract him as the leader of the Liberal Party is huge for the party. I think it allows them to kind of get some more wind in their sails. They were a pretty deflated party, I think, when they were so down in the polls.
Representing 85.9% of the vote.
86% of the vote is phenomenal, right? And it shows a united party. So I think that they have to be very elated by this. You didn't have to go to any runoff ballots or anything like that. It's really huge that he was able to get, almost 9 out of 10 of people who voted for the leadership to get them behind him. Carney is going to focus on economic policy. It's clear that's his expertise, that it is really the central preoccupation of Canadians now is the cost of living. And of course, this is going to get even more acute an issue if the tariffs come on, the tariffs that Donald Trump is threatening. If they're imposed upon Canada, then obviously we're in the prospect, people say depending on how long this goes on, we face the real prospect of a recession. Carney will present himself as somebody who has dealt with crises. This is clearly a crisis for Canada. All Canadians understand that. So he will present himself as, I think, a kind of a calm person who can deal with a complex issue. He has an international stature, which Trump may respect. It's hard to know. So I think that those are his. That's the kind of character that he'll bring to this. His acceptance speech yesterday, he made it very clear that he will not, deter from the existing Trudeau line, which is that we're going to fight back. That we have to fight back with these counter tariffs.
To create new trading relationships with reliable trading partners.
The challenges are pretty obvious. One is that, the most obvious is that he is not a politician, right? He has never run for office. He's never held office. He has been a public servant, if you will, right?
There's someone who's trying to do the opposite.
He'll be up against, three leaders really, Poilievre for the Conservatives and the NDP leader Singh and the Bloc Québécois leader as well, who are seasoned politicians. They've been in office, they've fought campaigns, they've won campaigns. So that's, it's going to be a real test of his ability to campaign. The other thing, of course, is that he is a Liberal. This is the Liberal Party. And Canadians are looking for change, particularly in Western Canada, Alberta and Saskatchewan. They've been, they're run by Conservative governments provincially, and they want to change in Ottawa. He's a Liberal, but he'll have to demonstrate or present himself as a different kind of Liberal, and as well as a Liberal who can seize this moment of change for Canada when everybody does want strong leadership and calm leadership, I think, in Ottawa, and that he's got the credentials to do that.
America is not Canada.
At this moment, Canadians really want competence. They really want somebody who can stand up and, be respectful, argue the case for Canada, and keep the country united. This is always a big challenge in Canada, is to keep the country united. Now, his advantage is that he actually he doesn't come from central Canada. Typically the Liberal Party will choose their leadership from central Canada, but he comes from Alberta, right? He comes from the West. So he's got that advantage as well.
To create new trading relationships with reliable trading partners.
And a kind of building a strategy for where we go from here, right? So there's been quite a bit of talk about diversifying our trading partners. I think that's clear. There's been talk about trying to build an internal, to construct an internal pipeline that will take, oil and gas from Alberta and get it all across the country so that we don't have to import, Eastern Canada doesn't have to import oil and gas from the US. There's talk about getting rid of the internal trade barriers that make it difficult for people to invest in Canada. What we really do need is a kind of a coherent strategy to make us less dependent upon the US, but at the same time, because we're geographically so close and we're so dependent on that market, we have to also think about having a continuing kind of relationship with the US. Of course, we're going to, if we go into an election, that election will be in the midst of this uncertainty. So it really will be a challenge to try to, for anybody, particularly for the Liberal Party, if they're fighting an election at the same time that we're getting all this kind of constant kind of change of direction from the U.S. So I think it's really going to tap the capacity of the Liberal Party to continue to run the country during this period.